Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're gonna go over the mock exam. So that's mock exam for mathematics for social science. It for the final exam it's gonna worth 40% of your total grade, which mean you need really to study for that final exam. Otherwise, you will be having a hard time to pass. Remember, in best cases, you need to get from 10 to 20 grades in the final exam in order to pass this course. The final exam gonna contain around 25 questions, more than 25 or less than 25 questions. Some of the question gonna worth 1 mark and the other gonna worth 2 mark and some of them gonna worth 3 marks. So remember, you need always to write all your steps, all your mathematical reasoning in order to get the first and the highest mark that can be obtained from each question. So without any delay, let's start our mock exam. So very short answer question. Convert the degree measure 210 degree to radian. So remember, if I have a degree and I need to convert the degree to radian, I need to multiply with what? Pi over 180 degree, which means I'm gonna have 210 degree times pi over 180 degree, which if again I use the calculator, it's gonna give me 7 pi over 6, and I should write the unit. So that would be my answer. Let's go now to the question number 2. Find the length of the arc of a circle with a radius of 21 centimeters subtended by a central angle of pi over 3 radian. So in that question, they asking me for finding, or they asking me finding the arc size or the arc length. So let's remember the formula. S equal r times theta. So r stand for the radius. In that case, my radius is gonna be 21 centimeter, and theta is stand for the central angle that represented in the radian. So remember, first I'm gonna look at my angle. Is it in radian? In that case, yes. So that's gonna be my angle. Sometimes they're gonna give you the angle in degree, and you need to convert it to radian. So my answer gonna be C equal 21 times pi over 3, which gonna give me 7 pi. And again, I shouldn't forget the unit, which is centimeter. Now let's go to question number 3. From the right angle triangle below, find the cosine of theta. So let's remember, what is cosine? Cosine of theta is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the adjacent over the height. And now let's go ahead and name the sides here. Here's my angle. So what is oppositing my angle is 5. So that's my opposite. And again, what is the sides that cover two angles? We're gonna call it the adjacent, and this one we're gonna call it the height. So my cosine gonna be my adjacent, which is 12, over the height, which is 13. Now simplify tan of x times cosine of x minus sine of x. So remember, in question number 4, where they ask me to simplify and I have a trig ratios, I always need change every single thing that not sine or cosine. So لازم أبدل كل شيء ما هو sine ولا cosine. In that case, what is not sine or cosine? Tan here. So I know that tan of x equal sine of x over cosine of x. So I'm gonna simply replace tan of x with sine of x over cosine of x. So I'm gonna have sine of x divided by cosine of x times cosine of x minus sine of x. So as you can see, the cosine gonna cancel with the cosine. I'm gonna end up with sine of x minus sine of x, which of course gonna give me a 0. So now let's go to question number 5. If f of x equal x squared plus 3x minus 2, evaluate f of 1 plus 2. So remember, in that case, we first gonna evaluate what is my f of 1. What is my f of 1? Okay. So what we mean by that notation, it means I'm gonna go back to f of x, and then I'm gonna replace every single x with 1. So instead of writing x squared, I'm gonna write 1 squared. And again, instead of 3x, I'm gonna write 3 times 1 minus 2, which of course gonna give me, if again I use the calculator, or you can be very direct with that, you're gonna get what? You're gonna get 2, because 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2. Now remember, they want me to find f of 1 plus 2. So I found f of 1 to be what? To be 2. So I'm gonna have, okay, sorry, I'm gonna have 2 plus 2, which is gonna give me 4. Let's go now to question number 6. Which one of the following equation define a function? Okay, so let's go over this one with a careful. The first one is not function because y is squared. Since y is squared, there's two ways to write some value of y, or sorry, there's two value to write some value of x and y. And what about b? B is indeed a function because y is not squared. The c here is not a function because y is squared. اتذكروا إذا كان الواي فيها أس 2 فدوما ليست دالة. Okay. Number 4, y is cubed, so this one is indeed a function. So letter B and letter D, both of them are functions. Now let's go to number 7. If f of x equal 5 minus 3x and g of x equal x, find f of g of 3. So remember, that's a composition of a function where I have two function, an inside function and outside function. So to solve this question, first we're gonna calculate what is my inside function. So I'm gonna calculate what is g of 3 because it is the inside function. So g of 3, I'm gonna go back to the g of x, and then I'm gonna replace the x with what? With 3. So I'm gonna have g of 3 to equal, instead of writing x, I'm gonna write 3. Okay, so that's my inside function found to be 3. I'm gonna now go and calculate what is my outside function. So f of 3. Why I didn't write g of 3? Because I already calculate g of 3, so that's gonna be here. It's like substituting the value of g of 3, which found to be 3, in that notation. Now I'm gonna go to the function f, and I'm gonna replace every single x with what? With a 3. So I'm gonna have 5 minus 3 times 3, which is gonna give me 5 minus 3 times 3 is 9. So 5 minus 9 is minus 4. So my answer gonna be B in that case. Now let's go to question number 8. So the median of the data 5, 9, 11, 13, 17, 3, 7 is, and I have a bunch of options. So remember what we mean by median. It means الوسيط. It means the middle value. But first, before we're gonna pick the middle value, we need to do few things. which is ordering the data from the lowest to the highest. بنرتبها من أقل قيمة إلى أعلى قيمة. So the lowest number is 3, and then I'm gonna have 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 17. So now I'm gonna pick the median, or I'm gonna pick the middle value, but there's a rule that's gonna tell me what number I'm gonna pick. So remember, the number actually of the entries here, or the observations, are 7. So n equal 7. What I'm gonna do in that case, I'm gonna have the median equal to what? Equal to n plus 1 over 2 entry. So I'm gonna have 7 plus 1 over 2 entry, which is gonna be 4 entry. What we mean by 4 entry, it is not the answer. I'm gonna go back to my data. I'm gonna count the first entry, the second entry, the third entry, and the fourth entry. So my answer gonna be 9. Where's 9? The letter C. Okay. Now let's go to question number 9. If a die is rolled, the probability of obtaining a number greater than 4. So remember what we mean by the word die. It means نرد. So ده حرقنا نرد بنعرف ايش احتمال ان نحصل رقم اكبر من 4. So remember greater than 4. In a die, how many numbers we have, or how many outcomes or possible outcomes we can have? 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So how many of them are greater than 4? كم واحد من الأرقام اللي في النرد أكبر من الأربعة؟ 5 and what? And 6. So what is the number? It's gonna be 2 over. So remember, the probability is the favorable outcome divided by the entire, or all outcomes, or the favorable event divided by the entire sample space. So 2 divided by how many outcomes I have? 6. So my answer gonna be 2 over 6. In that case, it would be letter C. So again, when 2 coins are tossed, the probability of getting exactly 2 hit. So I have 2 coins that being tossed. I would like to find the probability of getting 2 hits. So I get from the first coin a hit and the second coin a hit. There's 2 ways to find the answer. I will go with the easiest way, which is, so if I have 2 coins and I throw both of them, does the first coin affect the outcome of the second coin؟ هل الخمسين الأولى أو العملة المعدنية الأولى تأثر في العملة المعدنية الثانية إذا لحتها؟ الإجابة لا. They both don't have any connection. So that's what we call the independence. مستقلات، حدثين مستقلين. So I'm gonna find what is the probability of getting a hit from one die, from one coin, which is 1 over 2. And again, the probability of getting a head from the second coin, which is 1 over 2. And I'm going to multiply them by the rule of independence, which is going to give me 1 over 4. So my answer is 1 over 4. That's one way to look at this question. Another way is just by writing all the sample space. So if I throw 2 coins, I can get H and H, head and head. Also, I can get H and tail, head and tail. Also, I can get tail and H, head, and tail and tail. So how many outcomes I would like to have? I only have, or I would like to have only 2 head, exactly 2 head, this one here. So I'm gonna have 1 outcome here. And how many outcomes I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, So it's gonna be divided by 4, which the answer gonna be 1 over 4. Okay. So now let's go to question number 10. The angle of elevation to the top of a building is found to be 45 degree from the ground at a distance of 50 meters from the base of the building. Find the height of the building. So this question is application of trigonometric ratios. Before we're gonna continue to find the mathematical solution for this one, let's now visualize the situation here. So I know elevation means someone is looking top or at the top of something. زاوية ارتفاع شخص ينظر إلى الأعلى. So here's gonna be someone. He's looking at the top of what? Of the building. Okay. And the angle of elevation is found to be 45. So that's gonna be my angle of elevation أو زاوية الارتفاع 45 degree. And let's continue the question from the ground at a distance of 50 meters from the base. So here's the person and here's the base of the building. This ground or this distance gonna be is given to be 50 meters. What they want me to find is the height of the building, h here. So to solve this question, let's go back and think about the right triangle, because now I have a right triangle. 50 meter is my adjacent and h is my opposite. So what is the trigonometric ratio that involve opposite and adjacent? Well, if you say tan, then your answer is correct, because tan of theta equal opposite over adjacent. So tan, what is my theta, is given to be 45 degree, equal opposite. What is my opposite is h, is the something I would like to find, and adjacent is found to be 50. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cross multiplication, where I'm gonna have h equal 50 times tan of 45. And if I use the calculator, I'm gonna get h equal 50 meter. Okay. Now let's go to question number 12. So in question number 12, they ask me to solve the system of linear equation by substitution. Remember, in the system of linear equation, we have how many method we can use? 3 different methods: substitution, graphing, and elimination. For now, they ask me, or they specify the method, so I have to solve it using the substitution method. So remember, I have two equations: 3x plus 2y equal 12 and x minus y equal 1. So I'm gonna name some equation. So 3x plus 2y equal 12. I'm gonna name it equation number 1. So now let's go to the second equation, where x minus 2 equal 1. As you can see now, with the substitution method, we would like to put one variable in one side and the other variable in other side. لازم أحط متغير واحد في طرف واحد والمتغيرات والأرقام ثانية في الطرف الثاني. So in that case, I can take y minus y to the other side. So I'm gonna get x equal 1 plus y. And now that's my second equation, because one variable is expressed in terms of the other variable. So that's going to be my second equation. Now, how I'm gonna solve this one? I'm gonna sub 2 in 1. بدخل المعادلة الثانية في الأولى. So instead of writing x, I'm gonna write, so again, instead of writing x, what I'm gonna write? I'm gonna write 1 plus y. 1 plus y gonna replace x here. So I'm gonna have 3 times 1 plus y plus 2y, which equal 12. And I'm gonna distribute 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times y is 3y plus 2y equal 12. And now I'm gonna have 3y plus 2y. Both of them have this, or they are the same term. So I'm gonna have 3 plus 5y equal 12. Now I can take 3 to the other side, which gonna give me 5y equal 9, because 3 gonna be in minus. 12 minus 3 is 9. Divide both sides by 5 by 5. So now the 5 here cancel with that 5. Y equal 9 over 5. So that's my y. Now what I need to find? I need to find also my x. Remember, some of you made that mistake. When solving the system of linear equation, you need to find the value of x, and you also need to find the value of y. So now we found the value of y. Now let's go back here to question number, or sorry, to the equation number 2, where x plus, or sorry, where x equal 1 plus y. Now I know the value of y, so I'm gonna sub it here. So I'm gonna have x equal 1 plus 9 over 5, which of course gonna give me 14. If I use the calculator, 14 over 5. So that's the value of x as well. So now I found the value of y and x. I can express them as a point. So 14 over 5 for x and 9 over 5 for what? For y. Now let's go to question number 13. Solve the system of linear inequalities by graphing. So how we gonna solve this one? Remember, my golden step here is always to put y in one side and put the everything in the other side. So now let me do something here. I'm gonna put y in one side. So I'm gonna have 2y, which here I'm gonna take x to the other side. So I'm gonna have 2y plus, or sorry, I'm gonna have 2y is less than or equal 8 minus x. That's from my first equation. Oh, sorry, inequalities. Now let's go to the second inequalities. To make or to put y in one side, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take y to that side because it's already in minus, and I'm gonna take 3 to that side. So I'm gonna have y is less than 3x minus 3. Why I'm doing that? Why did I put y in one side? Because it's gonna help me to determine where should I shade my solution of each line. Is it below the line? Is it up the line? So like that. Now what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna find the line. So remember how we're gonna find the line. I'm gonna take off the inequality sign and I'm gonna put equal in its stead. So I'm gonna have 2y equal 8 minus x. In that case, what I'm gonna do with the first line, I'm gonna find what is my x-intercept and y-intercept, and again I'm gonna do the same thing with the second line, which is y equal 3x minus 3. So how are we gonna find the x-intercept? So remember, x-intercept is actually what? Or let's start with the slope. So the slope in that case, if you remember correctly, I have now a coefficient with y, so the slope gonna be the coefficient of x divided by the coefficient of y. So it will be what? It will be minus half, but I will not write it. I will just focus on the x-intercept. So x-intercept and y-intercept. So the x-intercept gonna be what? It's gonna be in x-intercept, I'm gonna put y equal to 0. So in x-intercept, I'm gonna have 8 and 0. Okay. In y-intercept, I'm gonna put x to be 0. So I'm gonna have 0 and 4. Again, let's go here. If I want to find the x-intercept, what I'm gonna put? I'm gonna put y equals 0. So I'm gonna have 2 times 0 equal 8 minus x. So I'm gonna have 0 equal 8 minus x. I'm gonna take minus x to the other side, so x equal 8, and that's gonna be my x-intercept. For the y-intercept, I'm gonna put x equal to 0, so I'm gonna have 2y equal 8 minus 0. So I'm gonna have 2y, I'm gonna divide both sides by what? By 2, and 8 divided by 2, so 2 gonna cancel with the 2. I'm gonna have y2 equal to 4, which I'm gonna write it here. Now let's go to the second equation, where again for the x-intercept, or first for the slope, it will be 3, but I will not write it again. For the x-intercept, what I'm gonna have, I'm gonna put y equal to 0. So when I put y equal to 0, I'm gonna get 1 and 0. And again, when I put x equal to 0 to get y-intercept, I'm gonna get minus 3. So y-intercept is 0 and minus 3. Okay. Again, and how we found this one, with x-intercept, I'm gonna put y equal to 0. With y-intercept, I'm gonna put x equal to 0, and then I'm gonna solve for y. عشان نحصل الاكس انترسبت او محور التقاطع السيني ايش بنسوي؟ بنحط الواي يساوي صفر، وعشان نحصل واي انترسبت او محور التقاطع الصادي بنحط اكس يساوي صفر وبنحل حل واي. So now, since I found the lines, let me go and draw my x and y plane like that. Then I'm gonna name some point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And here again, I'm gonna name some point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Again, here I'm gonna name some point -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and here again -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. So remember, now to sketch the lines, first I need to determine what kind of line I'm gonna have. Is it a dotted line? It is a discontinuous line? Or is it a solid line? So how are we gonna know that? Remember, if I have the notation greater than or equal or less than or equal, if I have those two notation, then my line gonna be a solid, متصل. But if I have less than or greater than, then my line gonna be what? Dotted. Which mean with that line 2y equal 8 minus x, it will be what? It will be solid. بيكون متصل ليش؟ Why? Because we have here x plus 2y is less than or equal. If I have less than or equal, it means I always need to put my line as a solid one. And for this one, it will be dotted. Why it will be dotted? Because 3x minus y is greater than. When I have the word, or sorry, when I have a notation of greater than, there's no equal, then the line should be dotted. So that's, with that being said, now we can sketch or we can draw our lines. The first line gonna be 2y equal 8 minus x. We know the slope is 8 here, 8 and 0. And so not the slope, the x-intercept. And the y-intercept is 0 and 4, which is here. So in that case, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna create, I'm just gonna create, maybe I can give, or I can get few, so I can just make it to be a bit accurate. So I'm just gonna dot few points here. Okay. Or there's no need perhaps. So just I'm gonna create a straight line between those 2 points like that here. Then now let's go to the equation or to the inequalities again. Remember the golden step I have done? I put y equal to in one side and I put everything in the other side. In that case, here, so that's my first inequalities. I put y in one side. Who is greater, y or x? Is obviously 8 minus x is greater than y. So in that case, since 8 minus x is greater than y, the solution gonna be under the curve. So under the curve, we're gonna have our solution like that. So that's gonna be my solution, for example. Okay. Now let's go to the second line. In my second line, I'm gonna have the x-intercept to be 1 and 0. So that's gonna be my x-intercept. And the y-intercept gonna be minus 3. So that's gonna be my minus 3. Minus 0 and minus 3. I'm gonna have a dotted line again. Why I'm gonna have a dotted line أو خطوط متقطعة أو منقطة؟ لأن عندي أكبر من، ما عندي أكبر من أو يساوي. So I'm gonna have the line to be dotted like that, like that. Okay. So that's gonna be my line for 3x minus y greater than 3. So now, again, remember my golden step I have done. I put y in one side, right? That's my golden step. الحركة الذهبية اللي بتساعدكم وايد. I put y in one side. Now, who's greater, y or x? Of course, 3x minus 3 is greater than y. So now what I'm gonna have, I'm gonna shade under the curve. بلون تحت الخط. ليش؟ لأنه الواي أصغر من 3x ناقص 3. So I'm gonna draw, or I'm gonna shade under the line. Okay. And again, where did my shades overlap? Here, right? نتقاطع عن اللونين. So this one is my solution. Okay. Now let's go to question number 14. So the following data shows the monthly expenditure of a family. Construct a pie chart in percentage for the data. So remember, we have rent, we have transport, and we have groceries. So it means we have three classes, and we would put those three classes in what? In the pie chart. So remember, pie chart means the circle like that, where we're gonna divide that circle into what? Into the classes. So I'm gonna have three different sector inside this circle. So first they ask me to find the percentage. I should remember the percentage is if divided by the total if, or sorry, not if in that case, it will be the amount divided by the total amount times 100%. So first let's calculate what is the total amount. It will be 150 plus 75 plus another 75, which is gonna give me 300. So now let's calculate the percentage for each class. For the rent, what I'm gonna have 300, or sorry, not 300, 150 divided by 300 times 100%. If I use the calculator, it's gonna give me what? 50% or NOS. So I'm gonna write here 50%. Again, for the transport, I'm gonna have 75%, or sorry, 75 divided by 300 times 100%, which is gonna give me 25%. So this one is 25%. For the groceries, it is the same thing, 25%. So again, what we mean by 50%, ايش يعني 50%؟ يعني نص الدائرة. So I'm gonna divide my circle into two, like that. The first one gonna be my rent. So that's gonna be my rent. And what is the percentage? 50%. Now let's go to the transport. My percentage was 25%. So 25%, it means a quarter or ربع الدائرة. So I'm gonna have a quarter like that. So that's the transport, which is 25%. Again, for the last one, the groceries, it will be 25%, another quarter. So that's how we can write or draw or represent the data on the pie chart. Remember, we have two things. We have the angle and the percentage. They might ask you for angle, they might ask you for percentage. So you should be comfortable with finding those two. So let's now go to question number 15. How many ways can a committee of three girls and two boys be formed from a class of 10 girls and six boys? So remember, if I have the word committee, it means I'm gonna use combination. Why? Because in committee, uh, order does not matter. الترتيب ما مهم. يعني عندي اللجنة، هل بيختلف إذا قلت في هذه اللجنة أحمد وسعيد أو سعيد وأحمد؟ لا، ما يختلف. So the order does not matter, which means we're gonna use the combination. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have two things. Number of ways to select boys, which I'm gonna refer to be, times verb number of ways to select girls. عندي شيئين. عدد الطرق الممكنة إني أختار ولدين من أصل 6 أولاد، ضرب عدد الطرق الممكنة إني أختار 3 بنات من أصل 10 بنات. So it will be number of ways to select B or boys. It will be 2C6, which mean choosing 2 out of 6 because I have 6 boys again, and I want how many boys? Only 2 boys, times the number of ways to choose a girl, which is how many girls I would like to have? 3, right? So I would like to see how many ways I can choose 3 out of how many girls in total? 10, which is gonna be what? It is the same thing as 6 factorial divided by 2 factorial divided by 6 minus 2, all factorials, times 10 factorials divided by 3 factorials times 10 minus 3 factorials. And if I use the calculator to get my answer, I'm gonna have it to be 120 times, or sorry, not 15 times 120, which is gonna give me 1,100, 800 ways. Now let's go to question number 9 or 17. I'm sorry, not 17, 16, part A. Solve for x if I have 3 to the power 2x minus 5 equal 27. Remember, we call this one an exponent or exponential equation where our variable is an exponent. How we're gonna solve this one? Remember, we need to put the bases to equal each other. أبقى نخلي الأساس متشابه أو متساوي. For example, here is the 3 as my base and here 27 as my base. Can I change 27 to something or to 3 to something? Yes, if you can remember, 27 is 3 to the power 3. So I can change it. So I'm gonna write the equation 2 to the power 2x minus 5 equal, instead of writing 27, I'm gonna write 3 to the power 3. Now I can let the exponent equal each other. Why? Because the base is the same. So I'm gonna have 2x minus 5 equal 3. I'm gonna take minus 5 to the other side. I'm gonna have 2x equal 8. Divide both sides by 4. I'm gonna get x equal, or divide both sides by 2. I'm gonna get x equal 4. So now let's go to letter B. The half-life of So the half-life of radioactive substance is 20 years, and initially 120 gram of the sample is considered. How long will it take until only 30 gram remain? So remember, they actually given me the model, and that's going to be the exponential application where we have a real life problem and we would like to convert it to math. So we're going to use the model, but before that, let's remind ourselves what we mean by the letters here. So A stands for the amount at T. AO is the initial amount أو الكمية البدائية اللي بدينا فيها. T is the time, الوقت. And H is the half life. That's my model, and that's what I should know. Now, let's read the question again. The half-life of radioactive substance is 20 years. So H gonna be 20 years. Initially 120 grams. So again, if you see the word initial, it means this one is A. O of the sample is considered. How long it how long will it take? So remember what we mean of the word how long. How long they asking me for the time. لما يسألوا عن الوقت يوم يقولوا how long. Until only 30 grams remain. علينا 30 جرام يبقى. So 30 grams gonna be my A. So now let's write the given. A equal 30 grams. AO equal 120 and H gonna equal 20 years. And of course, I'm gonna have to find what is my T. So now, how I'm gonna do it? I have the model A equal AO times 2 minus T over H. So to solve for this one, I'm gonna now sub the value I know here in my model. So A, it's gonna be 30 gram equal AO, it will be 120 gram times T to the power minus T, I don't have it, I would like to have it, divided by what? By H. What is H? 20 years. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to isolate minus T over 20 or 2 to the minus T over 20. Why? Because I have a golden properties of log. If I have something, for example, x to the power a, and I took the ln of both sides or the natural log of both sides, then I'm gonna let the exponent be down. So I'm gonna have a ln of x. That's in that way we can solve always for what? We can solve for the variable. So now to isolate 2 to the power minus t over 20, I'm going to divide both sides by what? By 120. 120. So this one going to cancel with this one. And from here, I'm going to get 1 over 4 equal 2 minus t over 20. Now, in that case, I did isolate 2 to the power minus t over 20. So now it is easy for me to take ln of both sides. Why I'm doing that? So the exponent here gonna come down. So I'm gonna have ln of 1 over 4 equal minus t over 20 لأن نزلت الأس times ln of what? Of 2. So in that case, I'm gonna isolate t. To solve for t, I need to put t in one side. So to put t in one side, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna divide both sides by what? By ln of 2. And again here, I'm gonna divide both sides by ln of 2. So ln of 2 gonna cancel with ln of 2 here. I'm gonna end up with, I'm gonna continue here. I'm gonna end up with t over 20, and of course I have here the minus, equal ln 1 over 4 over ln 1 over 2. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna again try to isolate the t. So I'm gonna multiply both sides by what? Minus 20. Again, I'm gonna multiply both sides by minus 20. So minus gonna cancel with the minus here. 20 gonna cancel with the 20. So t equal minus 20 times ln 1 over 4 divided by ln of 2. And if I use the calculator, it will give me a very nice number, which is 40 years. So t equal 40 years. Now let's go to question number 17. Find the inverse function of f of x equal 4 minus 5x. So remember, in order for me to find the answer of this one, first I need to follow a few steps. The first step, I'm gonna replace f of x with y. So instead of writing f of x, I'm gonna write y. I'm gonna replace this one with y. So I'm gonna have y equal 4 minus 5 of x. Second, solve for x. I'm gonna solve for x. What we mean by solving for x, I'm gonna put x in one side, بخلي الاكس في طرف وحدها. So I'm gonna have, to solve for x, I'm gonna take 5x or minus 5x to that side and y to that side. So I'm gonna have 5x equal 4 minus y. Then I'm gonna divide both sides by 5. 5 gonna cancel with this 5, so x equal what? 4 minus y over 5. So the step number 3, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna replace x by f, or the inverse function of x, and at the same time, don't do it in a separate step, at the same time, and I'm gonna let y to be x. So here this x, it will become the inverse function of x equal 4 minus, and the y here gonna become x over 5. And that's gonna be my last answer. Now let's go to question 17 part B. For the quadratic equation, or sorry, for the quadratic function, f of x equal 3x squared minus 12x plus 7, find the following, where they want me to find the vertex and the interval of increasing. Remember, you should always know how to find every single component of the quadratic function. So vertex is what? Is h and k, right? Where h is minus b over 2a. So let's find what is h. In that case, what is my b? It is minus 12. So I'm going to have minus 12. Remember, b معامل x. البي معامل x. فمعامل x هنا سالب 12. Divided by 2 times A. So 2, what is A? A معامل X تربيع. So A is 3. So I'm going to have minus with minus is positive. 12 divided by 6 is 2 if I use the calculator. So that's my H. My H is 2. Now how I'm going to find what is my K? Remember, K is always f of H. So I know that K equal f of H. عن قيم محل اللي طلعها من ال H أعوضها في المعادلة عشان أجيب ايش؟ ال K. So f of 2, I'm gonna go back to the function f of x, and then I'm gonna replace every single x with what? With 2. So I'm gonna have 3 times 2 squared minus 12 times 2 plus 7. If I do that, and of course I'm gonna use the calculator, I'm gonna end up with the answer of minus 5. So k is minus 5. So the vertex gonna be what? H, which is 2, and k, which is minus 5. So now they want me to find the interval of increasing. Remember, we have two cases. The first case, if the A is greater than 0. If A is positive, then my parabola gonna be open upward. بيكون مفتوح صف فوق في ذي الحالة. Why? Because A is greater than 0. If A is greater than 0, then the interval of increasing gonna be K, gonna be H to infinity. In that case, what is my H is 2, and what is infinity is just infinity. And that's gonna be my answer. Now let's go to question number 18. A bag contains 5 red balls and 4 blue balls. 2 balls are drawn from the bag with replacement. So let's look at this word with replacement. مع إعادة. One after the other. Using a tree diagram, find the probability of drawing both blue balls. So remember what we mean by tree diagram. It's a way to represent the action or the event that's gonna happen. So how many action we have? We have two different action. What are the action? We draw the ball and we draw another ball with replacement, of course. So the number of ball will not change. So let's start with our first action. And I have here the point. So first let's start. What is total ball? كم total balls? كم عدد الكرات الكلي? I have 5 red, so 5 plus and 4 blue plus 4, so the total is 9. Now what is the probability of getting red? ايش احتمال انه يطلع لنا حمراء؟ Remember, the probability is the favorable outcome divided by the total outcome. So how many red I have? كم كورة حمراء عندي؟ 5. So 5 تقسيم العدد الكلي هو 9. And the probability of blue gonna be what? Gonna be how many blue I have? 4. So it will be 4 divided by 9. So now I found the most important thing here, the probabilities. Now let's go to my tree diagram. In the first action, I might get what? I might get a blue or red balls, right? بإمكاني يطلع لي red or blue. So in the red, what is the probability of getting red? Is 5 over 9. What about blue? 4 over 9. Now that's my first action. Let's go to the second action. Again, if I draw one times, but remember with replacement يعني عدد الكور الكلي ما ينقص أبدا لأني برد الكورة بعدين. So I'm gonna have again two different outcomes here or two different possible outcomes, and here also I'm gonna have two different possible outcomes, and here two different possible outcomes. So I can have red and also I can have blue. Blue. So what is the probability of red? ذكر لأن قلنا with replacement ما يحتاج ينقص الأرقام. So it will be 5 and 9 يعني ما يتغيرن الاحتمالات. And here I'm gonna have 4 and 9. Also here 4 and 9. And here 5 and 9. So what they want me to do, using a tree diagram, find the probability of drawing both blue balls. So they want the probability of getting blue and blue. يطلع لي كورة زرقاء من السحب الأولى وكورة زرقاء من السحب الثاني. So I'm gonna go to my diagram here to get the probability, or sorry, to get the probability of getting blue in the first draw is 4 over 9. In the second draw is also 4 over 9. So those two I'm gonna multiply them together. So I'm gonna have 4 over 9 times 4 over 9, which of course, if I use the calculator, I'm gonna get it to be 7, oh sorry, not 7, 16 over 81, which gonna be 0 point approximate to 0.198, which means it is not very likely to happen. Now let's go ahead and read the part B, question part B. A student randomly select three balls from a box containing four red balls, five green balls, and three yellow balls. Find the probability that no green ball is selected. So they want me to find what is the probability of not selecting a green ball. What I'm gonna do here, I would like to find how many ways I can select no green ball. So how many ways to select non-green ball. First, how many ball I would like to have؟ كم عدد الكور اللي اللي سحب اللي اختارهم؟ ثلاثة صح؟ So I'm gonna have three here. I would like three balls. Out of how many ball? Out of, let's see, how many balls that are not green? How many ball are not green? If I go and continue count, I'm gonna find that I have four red and three yellows. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So I'm gonna have three out of, or I'm gonna choose three out of seven balls. How many ways I can choose three out of seven? So that's gonna be 35. So it will be 35. Now let's go and find the number of ways to select three balls. So in that case, I would like to select whatever ball I have, whether it was green, whether it was red, whether it was yellow, I don't care. I need to select three out of them. So I'm gonna have, I would like to select three out of how many? How many balls now I have? كم العدد الكلي؟ I have 12 balls. So I'm gonna have, if I use again the calculator, I'm gonna get 220 ways to select the ball. So the total now, or the probability of choosing the three balls and those three balls are not red, is the probability of choosing non-red, non-green, sorry, gonna be the number of ways to select non-green ball, which is 35, divided by the total way of choosing three balls, which is 100 and 220, which gonna give me, if I use the calculator, 0.159 as approximate value. So that's gonna be part B. Now let's go to question 19. So in question 19, Mr. Ahmed borrows a 1500 Omanis riyal for 10 months at a discount rate, or what we're gonna say, an interest rate of 6% per year. Find the proceed. So I should remember, if I have a discount rate, it means I'm gonna use uh, this formula: B equal M 1 minus RT. Okay, so 1 minus RT. In that case, what is M? M is what we borrowed, which is 15,000 or 1500. So M equal 15000 Omani Riyal. And R, what is R? Is the discount rate. So R is 0.066%. If you use the calculator, it's gonna give you 0.06. And T is the time given in years. T, time given in years. But remember now, what they give me, sorry about that, what they give me 10 months. اعطوني 10 اشهر، ما اعطوني سنه، فايش لازم اسوي؟ لازم اقسمها على كم؟ على 12 عشان اعاملها معامله السنه. So now I'm just gonna insert every single value I know. So B gonna be M 15,000 or 1500. I always make that mistake, so sorry. 1 minus R, which is 0.06, times T, which is 10 over 12. And again, use the calculator to get the answer to be 1,000 or 1,400, or sorry, 14,250 riyals. So that was indeed 15,000 riyal. So now let's go to the last one here. B, if Oman, if 6,000 Omani Riyal is invested at 10% compounded semi-annual or semi-annually, what will be the future value in 3 years? So remember what we mean by compounded. Compounded يعني يتراكمن، يعني ما يبقي يعني ما يكون زيادة فقط 6%. يعني ما يكون 6000 ضرب 6%، هذه هي زيادتك، لا، يتراكمن أو يتجددن. So in that case, if I saw the word compounded, then I'm gonna use what law? I'm gonna use this one. A equal B, the present value, 1 plus R over N, and N times T, where N is the number, compound number, number, beer, year, and T, of course, is the time in year. R is the interest value or interest rate, and B, present value. So now I'm just gonna insert everything in my formula. So A gonna be B, or sorry, not B, it now becomes 6,000 real times 1 plus R, which is 0.10, given 0.10, divided by how many times I get my interest compounded? semi-annually, يعني في السنة مرتين. So I'm gonna have 2 times. So n here equal 2. Okay, and that's raised to the power. So what is my TT is a 3. So I'm gonna have 2 times 3. If I use the calculator, I'm gonna get A to equal 8,040 riyals times 57 OMR or Riyal Omani. And that was the last question of this mock exam. Remember a few things before I'm gonna let you out. Uh, you should always measure your English in the question booklet. You always need to go to the question booklet كتيب الأسئلة. Understand the question, not only the solution. لازم تفهم السؤال، ليس الإجابة فقط. لازم تفهموا طريقة السؤال، ايش يبغوا من السؤال. You all struggle with understanding the question, so please go ahead, solve the question in the question paper, or the question papers that I distributed to you, or that other teacher distributed to you. If you have any question, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Have a good day and good luck.